Hey guys, tonight we journey into a world where healing doesn't come in pills or syringes but in sweat, smoke, and sacred stones. You're barefoot on ancient soil, the volcanic dust warm under your toes, as you follow the sound of flutes and murmuring voices toward the pulsing heart of Tenochtitlan. The smell hits you first, a thick mix of crushed herbs, charcoal, sweat, and flowers, like walking into a humid greenhouse built inside a church sauna. Welcome to the world of Aztec medicine. You're going to need strong lungs, a strong stomach, and possibly divine intervention. Because tonight, your body is the battlefield, and you probably won't survive this in one piece. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and what time it is where you are. I always love seeing how far the sleepy little history squad stretches. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey. Together, you duck under a woven curtain and enter the Kalmakak, the learning halls where young nobles study religion, war, astronomy, and, of course, healing. You're not a student, but the air here hums with sacred seriousness. Dried herbs hang from rafters, obsidian tools glint on low tables, and a reed mat has been laid out for you. Apparently, you look sick. A weary old woman with braids down to her knees gives you a squint, snorts, and orders you to undress. Don't argue, she's the ticitl, the healer priest, and she doesn't need a stethoscope to know what's wrong with you. Before she touches you, she lights copal resin and lets the smoke rise in curling wisps around your head. This isn't just for scent. To the Aztecs, illness is more than physical, it's spiritual imbalance. An invasion of the body by force is both seen and unseen. So, they start with cleansing, not diagnosis. You feel the sting of smoke in your nose, your throat opens a little, your vision blurs, and yeah, maybe your sinuses are already halfway healed. She nods approvingly and gestures toward the Temascal, the sweat lodge. It's not just a steam bath, it's sacred. It's therapy. It's where warriors, pregnant women, and the terminally ill all go to be reborn. And now, it's your turn. You crouch and crawl through a low stone doorway into the dome. Inside, a pile of red-hot volcanic rocks sizzles in the center. The ticitl pours herb-infused water over them, and clouds of steam explode upward with a hiss that sounds almost judgmental. Within seconds, the air turns into soup. Your skin prickles, your chest tightens. You're dripping sweat from pores you didn't know you had. She sits beside you and begins to chant, rhythmic and low. The sound of her voice, the darkness, the steam, it's overwhelming. You start to drift, like floating in your own fogged-up skull. This isn't some relaxing spa treatment. It's intense, intentional, like being cooked to drive out disease. Historians still argue whether these sweat lodges were more spiritual than physical. But to the Aztecs, there was no such divide. Cleansing the body was also cleansing the soul. And sweating out your illness meant pleasing the gods who monitored your every move. You survive the Temascal barely. Staggering out into the evening air, you feel lighter. Not healed exactly, but cracked open. And that's just step one. Back in the healing hut, the ticitl prepares a poultice from some pantly leaves. Yes, like the skull rack, same word, totally different vibe. Mixed with crushed ants and a dash of something spicy. You don't ask. You just lie down and let her smear it across your chest. It burns like Vicks VapoRub's vengeful older cousin. In Aztec medicine, nearly every treatment included natural elements, roots, minerals, insects. They used what was around them, and they were surprisingly methodical. Records in Nahuatl describe symptoms, recipes, and detailed case studies. We're talking real documentation, almost like medical journals, but with more jaguars and fewer footnotes. Take jade, for example. It wasn't just jewelry. Pressing a smooth jade stone over the temples was thought to cool fever and draw out bad spirits. Is it scientific? Maybe not. But admit it, if someone rubbed a cool gemstone on your forehead while chanting softly, you feel something, right? Then there's the color logic. Red flowers for blood issues, yellow plants for jaundice, bitter herbs for sour stomachs. It sounds simplistic, but it's rooted in centuries of observation. The Aztecs didn't just guess, they watched. They experimented. They adjusted. One fringe theory even suggests the Aztecs mapped emotional pain to body parts, heartbreak in the liver, grief in the lungs. If you've ever cried so hard your chest hurt, you might agree. Outside, someone beats a slow rhythm on a log drum. It's part of another ritual healing. You peek through the thatch and see a man lying still, while the priest paints his skin with crushed insects and sings the patient's name to the gods. It's eerie and moving. You realize this entire society views healing not as fixing something broken, but restoring cosmic balance. Tonight, you're not just a patient. You're a universe slightly out of alignment. And the medicine, It's not just to cure, it's to correct. And if that means a little smoke, sweat, or bug paste, so be it. Your second visit to the ticitl is much less mystical and much more practical. You've been limping ever since you tried to climb one of those intimidating temple steps to fast, and now your knees puffed up like a frog. The healer clicks her tongue, mutters something about balance, and gestures for you to lie down again. At this point, you're basically part of the furniture. This time, she doesn't reach for herbs or jade. She reaches for a basket inside. You spot something that makes your stomach knot. Fat, wriggling maggots. No, not a snack. She plucks a handful and drops them directly onto your inflamed skin. The sensation is immediate, cold, slimy, and somehow ticklish. You flinch, but she steadies you with a firm hand. The Aztecs weren't squeamish about this. Maggots were seen as expert cleaners, natural surgeons that devoured only dead tissue while leaving the living parts intact. Modern science would later confirm that maggot therapy really does help prevent infection. But you just feel like a worm buffet. Once your new six-legged friends have done their thing, she brushes them off and reaches for obsidian. This part. You've heard about how the Aztecs made blades sharper than modern scalpels using volcanic glass. That's not an exaggeration. These blades are so thin they could split a hair. She slices cleanly through the skin around your swollen knee. Careful, deliberate, no anesthesia, but somehow her touch is clinical, almost tender. The sting is sharp, but brief. She stitches you up with cactus spines and ticitl, a fiber made from agave. It's weirdly beautiful primitive materials with surgical precision. You look down and see a jagged line crossing your leg like a battle scar earned in a story you're not sure how to tell. You get bandaged with bark soaked in antiseptic resin, tied off with strips of palm. All biodegradable, zero plastic waste. The Aztecs were sustainable centuries before the rest of us got reusable. Grocery bags. This wasn't rare. The Aztecs performed surgeries, amputations, even dental procedures. Got a rotten tooth? They'd yank it with bone pliers and cauterize the socket with hot chili paste. Effective and spicy. You hobble outside, wrapped in bandages, and go. A few curious kids eye your limp and whisper to each other. You're basically a walking anatomy lesson. But before you can shuffle away, the ticitl calls you back. You're not done, she says. You need to heal from the inside. Cue the potions. She brews something from smoked toadstools, wild tobacco, and fermented honey. It smells like campfire and vinegar and something vaguely illegal. You sip and promptly wish you hadn't. The bitter liquid sears your throat and makes your eyes water. But moments later, your muscles ease. The throbbing dulls. Either it's working, or you're about to hallucinate a talking jaguar. The line between medicine and magic here is slippery, and sometimes intentionally so. Not everything is meant to be explained. The Aztec understanding of anatomy wasn't like ours. They believed the body was composed of sacred energies, hot and cold, wet and dry, balanced and imbalanced, too much cold, chili compress, too much heat, moonflower paste. It's like trying to heal based on vibes, but those vibes came with centuries of results. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs fully understood things like infection or circulatory systems. There's evidence they treated symptoms effectively, even if they didn't know the cellular why. You could say they were less concerned with germs and more with gods. You notice one of the young apprentices nearby, grinding something in a potato stone mortar. He's preparing a saw from crushed fireflies and deer fat. The glowing insects were believed to have healing light inside them, bioluminescent bacteria. Maybe. Magical thinking. Also maybe. But tell me you wouldn't want to glow in the dark. Bandage. And here's a fringe tidbit for you. Some sources suggest the Aztecs believed certain wounds could be healed faster by whispering into the injured area. Not metaphorically. Literally whispering to your own flesh. Whether it helped or not, you kind of want to try it next time you stub your toe. The sun is starting to dip now, casting long shadows over the clinic courtyard. One by one, people file in, a child with a swollen jaw, an old man with a bandaged arm, a young woman clutching her belly. The ticitl moves between them like a conductor adjusting poultices, muttering prayers, offering bits of roasted maize as both comfort and placebo. It strikes you that this place isn't just a medical center. It's a community hub. Healing isn't private, it's shared, public, participatory. Even your pain becomes part of the rhythm of life. Later, you find yourself sitting under a tree, sipping a second cup of that weird root potion. Okay, maybe you're getting used to it. Watching the healer's fire crackle and hiss. Somewhere in the darkness, a nightbird calls, and for a moment, you feel oddly at peace. It's not sterile, it's not quiet, but it's undeniably human. And your knee? It's already starting to feel like part of your body again. You're not Sure, if it's the maggots, the obsidian, the mystery tea, or just the sheer attention. But you've definitely survived this round. It's still dark when you're woken by soft flutes and the smell of damp earth. You're not in a clinic this time, you're in the forest. Or at least, what used to be forest before it was carved into sacred groves and mushroom gardens. You've been brought here by a ticitl who doesn't wear obsidian or carry poultices. This one wears a jaguar pelt and a wreath of mushrooms strung like beads. This one heals with spirits. No bandages, no salves, just a thick, bitter paste that she smears across your lips, like lipstick from a fever dream. You swallow instinctively, and it's too late to back out. This is ticitl, the flesh of the gods, a hallucinogenic mushroom used by Aztec priests and healers not just for rituals, but for medicine. You're not just tripping for fun. You're entering the divine consultation room where visions diagnose what the physical eye can't see. The forest breathes, colors pulse. Your skin seems to echo with each bird call. And then there's movement. A snake. No, a twisting vine, coiling up your spine. You blink, and the healer is suddenly inches from your face, chanting in nahuatl, blowing tobacco smoke around your head in slow spirals. This isn't healing as you know it. This is metaphysical surgery. The Aztecs believed illness could hide deep inside you, lodged in your tonality, your animating energy, like a splinter in the soul. And to remove it, you had to find it first. That's where the mushrooms come in. They called them divine flesh for a reason. The visions weren't random, they were messages. And yes, scholars still debate whether the mushrooms were more therapeutic or spiritual in use, but to the Aztecs, the line didn't matter. What mattered was the outcome. You lie still, eyes half open, while the ticitl mutters questions to the spirit world. She holds a carved gourd and shakes it over your chest, her other hand pressing gently against your ribs. Then she pauses. Something's there. A blockage. A dark knot you didn't even know existed. She leans closer and whispers into your ear. It's cactus, obsidian serpent. That's the shape of your sickness. You don't know what it means, but the name alone seems to loosen something inside you. The healer draws symbols on your chest with chalky white paste glyphs you vaguely recognize from temple walls. Maybe they mean release. Maybe they mean don't panic. Either way, they're part of the cure. Afterward, she gives you a bitter tea made from lilts and a black nightshade plant mixed with honey and smoked lime. It's meant to calm the stomach and soothe the mind. Oddly enough, it works. Later that morning, as the sun rises through misty trees, she shows you her apothecary rows of wooden boxes filled with dried roots, seeds, fungus, and things that look suspiciously like bat wings. You ask her how she knows what each one does. She says nothing and just smiles. Because in Aztec medicine, knowledge wasn't always spoken, it was sung, chanted, or passed through dreams. One box contains peyote cactus, another holds sinacuchi, sometimes called sun opener. It's said to make you hear echoes of the past. Some ticitl used it to help patients revisit the origin of their pain, emotional, physical, or both. Modern historians admit the Aztecs weren't just using placebos. Many of these psychoactive substances do have neurological effects. And while Western medicine often isolates one compound for one symptom, the Aztecs combined remedies with rituals, treating the body and the spirit in one long, dizzying process. You sit cross-legged as she prepares a paste of ayahuasca, sweet-smelling plant used to treat fevers, and smears it under your nose. The scent jolts your senses like eucalyptus on steroids. Your headache vanishes. Was it placebo? Or did your sinuses just time travel? The quirky part, some treatments were based on cosmic humor. If you had a swollen belly, you might be fed a tiny sculpture of a healthy stomach made of ground maize and herbs, then told to digest the healing. Aztecs believed symbolic actions carried real-world effects. You might laugh, but your stomach isn't cramping anymore, is it? In a corner, you watch as another patient undergoes curanderismo, a healing involving crystals, feathers, and a bowl of still water. The healer drops some bits of dried mushroom, then studies the ripples as if reading tea leaves. She tilts her head and murmurs, fear of betrayal. The patient nods, weeping. Healing begins. Even now, scholars argue whether this form of medicine was delusional or deeply intuitive. Was it just superstition or a holistic system we've lost touch with? Maybe both. But here, in this grove, logic feels like an afterthought. You sleep that night on woven mats beneath glowing fungus strung like lanterns. Your dreams are strange, vivid. You see your own body as a map, wounds marked in red ink, glowing with meaning. You wake with tears on your cheeks and an odd peace in your chest. The ticitl nods. You saw the truth, she says. You still don't know what she means, but your head is clearer. Your breath deeper. And when you finally walk back to the city, everything looks just a little brighter. You're back in the city now, more grounded, less glowing, but your next healing experience is no less strange. In fact, this one might just be the most surreal yet. You're lying on your back in a quiet, reed-walled room. It smells like charcoal, rose petals, and cooked eggs. A mat has been rolled out beneath you. A circle of obsidian shards surrounds your head, and a small clay bowl of water reflects your upside-down face. No knives, no sweat lodges, just smoke, symbols, and softly murmured incantations. You've entered the realm of ritual healing. Magic to some, nonsense to skeptics. But here, it's medicine. The healer is a man, this time tall, serene, draped in feathers and red thread. He doesn't ask what hurts. He already knows. He picks up a whole egg and begins to rub it over your chest, your arms, your forehead, as if the egg itself is a sponge soaking up invisible sickness. This is Olympia, a cleansing. And no, this isn't unique to the Aztecs. Variations exist across Mesoamerica to this day. But in Tenochtitlan, this was serious business. The egg was believed to trap illness, envy, even curses. When cracked into water, its shape and clarity were read like an X-ray of the soul. The Aztecs saw energy where we see chemistry. You glance at the bowl as the egg is broken. The yolk spreads in the water, cloudy tendrils curling outward. The healer squints. Bad energy, he says. Too much wind in your liver. Wait, what? See, Aztec medicine had its own internal logic. Organs didn't just process food, they processed emotions, fate, even moral choices. Your heart wasn't just a pump, it was the seat of courage. Your liver held fear. Your stomach bore secrets. Sound weird? Try explaining your own stress ulcers without sounding a little mystical. The healer pulls out a handful of crystals, obsidian, jade, amethyst, and arranges them on your belly in a spiral pattern. He chants again, this time calling on ticitl, the earth goddess, to swallow your imbalance and spit back health. You're not religious, but lying there, wrapped in herbs and moonlight, you kind of want to believe. He swings a bundle of burning herbs, sage, copal, and astaphiate, a bitter plant known to treat parasites, around your body, creating a ring of smoke. You breathe it in deeply. It's sharp, but oddly soothing, like standing in a fireplace full of menthol. You cough once, then again. Suddenly, your chest feels lighter. Historians still debate whether these rituals were more diagnostic or therapeutic. Was the magic part a comfort or the real cure? Many believe the answer is both. Even placebo, when wielded with conviction, can trigger very real biological responses. And Aztec healers wielded conviction like a sacred sword. But not all ailments came from imbalance. Some came from others. One woman arrives carrying a pouch made of snakeskin. Her eyes are wide, her voice low. She believes someone cursed her. The healer nods, unshocked. In this world, illness isn't always internal. It can be thrown at you by a jealous neighbor, a spurned lover, or even an angry god. That's where the magical side of medicine really flexes its muscles. The healer prepares a counterspell, obsidian dust mixed with chili ash, shaped into a tiny figurine and buried at a crossroads. He tells her to walk home without speaking, without looking back. The ritual isn't just symbolic, it's a full-body reset, a message to remind her soul, and maybe whatever forces are watching from the shadows. You chuckle quietly. Crossroads. Magic. It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but the woman leaves smiling. Lighter on her feet. Your own healing continues. You're handed a small cup of tlaka cannoli, a medicinal drink made from ash, lime, maize, and bloodroot. It tastes like gritty fire. You're told to drink slowly while staring into the bowl of water. Again, this time, your reflection seems sharper. You feel reassembled. The Aztecs didn't just use rituals to cure, they used them to understand. If a treatment didn't work, they didn't blame the herb or the ritual, they asked what you hadn't done. Did you dishonor your ancestors, speak your illness aloud? Were you even ready to be well? That fringe idea, not being ready to be healed, shows up again and again. The belief that illness could cling to you if you still needed it. Comforted by your own suffering. Maybe you felt that too. A broken heart that secretly doesn't want to mend yet. The healer doesn't just fix your body. He performs a second limpia, this time using bundles of corn leaves dipped in rose water. He brushes them over your skin like a sacred broom, sweeping off invisible dust. He places a frog figurine beside your head. Frogs, you're told, are sacred to Tlaloc, the rain god. Their presence invites renewal. Also, they eat pest. You wonder if this is symbolic and pest control. One last ritual remains. You're handed a tiny cotton doll and asked to whisper your worst fear into its ear. You do, Feeling ridiculous but also relieved, the healer takes it, wraps it in maize husks and burns it in the hearth. Now, he says, you've let go. It's quiet after that. You lie still for a long time, staring at the embers. No flutes, no chanting. Just the soft hiss of something ancient burning away. Was it magic? Was it medicine? You can't say for sure, but your body feels softer, your head quieter. Maybe you weren't cured. Maybe you were unburdened, and in this world, that counts as healing. The next time you find yourself in need of Aztec medicine, you're not surrounded by sacred mushrooms or whispering healers. You're in the chaos of a battlefield, or at least, the aftermath of one. You're limping through crushed reeds and blood-soaked dirt, gripping your arm where Maggots razor-edged obsidian where club kissed you a little too lovingly. You're not alone. Dozens of warriors lie sprawled around you, groaning, shouting, praying. And then they arrive, the battlefield medics. No white coats, no stretchers, just speed, calm, and some of the wildest first aid techniques you'll ever see. A woman wearing a red cloak kneels beside you. She doesn't flinch at the sight of your wound. She nods once and sets to work. First, a paste thick, black, bitter smeared straight onto the gash. It smells like burnt popcorn and citrus. That's ticitl and chocuin, antiseptic herbs, known to fight infection, then reduce swelling. You hiss, and she hisses back because no one likes a noisy patient. She sprinkles crushed obsidian dust into the paste. Not a joke. Obsidian had antiseptic properties, and the Aztecs figured that out centuries ago. The dust forms a gritty barrier, sealing your skin in a kind of prehistoric band-aid. Then, she wraps it in deer hide, ties it off, and pats your cheek like, don't be a baby. Battlefield medics, many of them women, known as ticitl, were a real part of Aztec military life. They moved fast, carried portable bundles of healing tools, and knew how to keep warriors alive long enough to either fight again or die gloriously at home. Your neighbor on the ground, dislocated shoulder. He gets a swift tug, a bone crack pop, and a cold compress made of cactus pulp and lizard fat. Yes, lizard fat. It's greasy, but it works. Aztec texts mention its use as a cooling agent, especially for burns and inflammation. Another guy is being force-fed a spicy broth that smells suspiciously like regret. That's chiltepin, a wild chili, boiled with maize husks and bloodroot. It's supposed to ignite the spirit. You suspect it's mostly a way to distract you from pain via a mouthful of culinary trauma. But not everything here is trauma triage. Later that night, back in the village, you watch a different kind of medicine unfold, quieter, more personal. A young mother brings her baby to the local ticitl. The infant cries nonstop. Won't feed, won't sleep. The healer listens, nods, and lifts a tiny amulet from around her neck, a piece of turquoise, carved into the shape of a hummingbird. She dips it into warm corn milk, holds it to the baby's lips, then chants softly. The crying stops. You roll your eyes, accept it. Worked. The Aztecs believed that spiritual interference could affect anyone, not just warriors and nobles. Everyday ailments had complex causes, cosmic imbalances, emotional stress, even curses from people who smiled too sweetly at your crops. Insomnia. You'd be given a pillow stuffed with toloch leaves, a mild sedative plant, and told not to eat spicy food before bed. Finally, a prescription you can live with. Toothache. Chew ticitl petals until numb. Headaches. Press roasted avocado skins to your temples and chant the name of the moon goddess. Even heartbreak had its cure, a tea brewed from the white blossoms of the ticitl tree, known to calm sadness in the chest. You smile at that because maybe, even back then, they knew love could hurt worse than war. You wander the tianggui, the marketplace, where the ticitl sometimes work side by side with vendors. One booth sells snake oil literally, another offers dried hummingbird hearts, said to boost strength and courage. Beside that, a woman grinds corn fungus hallucinogenic into a blue-black paste and stirs it into stew. You're told it helps with digestion, fertility, and stubbornness. You'll take two. The Aztecs didn't separate food and medicine the way we do. Healing was built into daily life, into drinks, meals, rituals, even gossip. That bitter chocolate drink, full of ticitl and chili, great for circulation. That grasshopper snack, packed with protein, said to strengthen bones. That cactus candy helped soothe the liver and cool the blood. Every bite had intention. Every remedy, a story. You're starting to see the bigger picture. Aztec medicine wasn't just about responding to illness. It was preventative. It was ritualized. It was communal. It was deeply human. One fringe belief says that some ticitl diagnosed illness by tasting a patient's tears, believing flavor and temperature revealed imbalances. Salty tears, too much fire in the blood. Sour tears, resentment poisoning the stomach. Is it science? Maybe not. Is it poetic? Absolutely not. And all of this, every wound, every herb, every whisper, is part of a larger truth. The Aztecs didn't treat people as machines with broken parts. They treated them as entire ecosystems, bodies woven into the land, the gods, and each other. As you lie back one final time beneath the stars, your body bandaged and your spirit steadied, you feel it too. Not just that you've been healed, but that you've been seen. And with that, the hum of frogs rises in the distance. The smoke from a healer's fire drifts up, dancing into the sky. Your breath slows. You're not sick. You're not broken. You're balanced. So now, as the medicine fades and the jungle hushes, you let your body sink into softness. Your limbs feel loose, your breath feather light. Even if the maggots made you squeamish, even if the chili broth burned like molten lightning, something deep inside you has shifted. There's no clinic noise here. No beeping monitors. Just the night air brushing your skin like the hand of a tired friend. You remember the flicker of copal smoke, the cool jade stone against your fevered head, the whispered prayers floating like fireflies across the darkness. Each moment unusual, a little wild. Sometimes weird was part of a medicine far older than pills and charts. Let that stay with you. The Aztecs didn't need microscopes to understand connection. They knew healing meant more than fighting off a disease. It meant aligning yourself with the stars, the gods, the earth beneath your feet. It meant sweating out your fears, dreaming your truths, eating something strange and trusting it might work. It meant accepting that maybe, just maybe, your body wants to heal if you give it space. And so tonight, you rest with that same space inside you. No chants, no rituals, just the quiet hush of sleep settling over your bones like warm river silt. The healers are gone now. The fire's a low glow. The stars blink overhead, keeping watch. And if you listen closely, you might still hear a jaguar purring in the distance. You're safe. You're still. You're whole.